Welcome, everyone. How many of you were at our student life panel yesterday? Show of hands. Wow, you came back for more. Yay. Welcome, everyone. I am the Associate Dean of Students for Health and Wellbeing. My name is Yashoda Gopal. This is a little repetitive, but I just wanted to let you know I am located in Elliott Hall, 204A. You all know my phone number. No, I'm just kidding. 503-517-LILY. All right. I am thrilled to have this cohesive, integrated team of experts here today. They are brilliant. You are in great hands, and I'm thrilled to be a part of this team. And I know there's so many emotions right now for you all, and I'm feeling them too because I've been there, and we'll get through it. We'll get through it together. All right. This slide you're not really supposed to be able to read, but I just wanted to give you the depth and breadth of the support system that your students have. Today, we will just be focusing in on the purple, lilac, and spring green colors over there. So I'm going to run through just very quickly and just have everyone wave when I call their names. And then each expert will introduce themselves as well. But we are so lucky we have Rowan Frost of SHARE, which is our Sexual Health Advocacy Resource and Education Center. We have Anne Kimberly Timmy Roshan of our Medical Services. We have Johanna Workman, and we have Miriam Saucedo of our Counseling Center. And we have Michael Lombardo, Athletics, Fitness, and Outdoor Programs, and Gary Granger, who you met yesterday from Community Safety. All right. Oh, there's the team. All right. I was going to read this poem to you, and then I thought, maybe I'll tell you a story instead. Each member of our panel is going to be involved with different facets of your students' well-being, and we're all here to support you. And instead of reading this poem, I wanted to say, looking at your faces, that I've been there and done that. And I say it not in a dismissive way or an apologetic way, but in a celebratory way. So this is really one of these milestones that you will look back on, and you will. I was going to play some music. And then I thought, okay, I won't get carried away. But and we talked about this yesterday. It's grief and it's relief, and it's just intertwined. And so the story is you all will be, after this panel, going to the reception. And in our daughter number 2's case, we did our goodbye hugs, and then we had a dinner reception. And I get to the dinner reception, and our daughter sends me a text that is in all caps, and it says, "I cannot do this." And I have not even had a sip of my wine. And so, and then as a parent, you're like, okay, so what, okay, do I like coddle them? Do I helicopter them? Oh, no, I can't do that. And then what do I do? What's the right answer? And even a pediatrician asks these questions. So I say, okay, so, go through the evening's activities, meet us for breakfast tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. And you're all familiar with the those motelly, hotelly breakfasts where you make your own Belgian waffles, right? So she created this huge plate of waffles, and she's crying into the waffles, like teardrops into the maple syrup. And then I think to myself, all I can do is think back to her third grade self. So here she is, this young college woman, and I just get an immediate flashback. I'm transported in time to third grade, where she learned the mnemonic, never eat soggy waffles. Are you all familiar with that? It's how you learn north, south, east, and west, but it's like, NESW. And so this story is just to say that there are these really tender human moments, and you will go flash back, flash forward in time and get teleported throughout the day today and for weeks and years to come. But all to say that there's that human, tender side. There's this also, like they said today in convocation, infinite possibilities. Each of your children, I keep using the word, I keep saying children. All of our students carry that thread throughout their time at Reed, and it's a unique thread, and it's going to be a different journey for each of your children, and we are here to guide them. I was going to talk about the canyon, but they spoke about that this morning at convocation. Such a great metaphor. It's a wonderful place to grow up. So, skipping that. And then the 4 components of well-being as I see them: work, play, rest, and space. Academics and work, yes. There's play with your friends, your peers, your pets. There's rest, which is the restorative portion, nutrition, sleep, and health maintenance. And then, of course, there's the space, and the space is the most important of these all. And this is for all of us, right? It's the gratitude practice, it's journaling for some, it's therapy for some, it's prayer, it might be a hike in nature. Michael's going to tell you all about that shortly. And we talked yesterday about making that time for the FaceTime call with your student, and I think that's a great thing to do. It may fall apart mid-semester, but I think it's something to try to look forward to. And then this last slide of mine, the 8 components of what I think student vitality is all about. And at Reed, yes, we have the intellectual vitality portion. All your kids are here, so just breathe the sigh of relief, they made it. But the one thing that I want to stress is if we focus on that portion alone, then what we do is we risk burnout and we risk decreased self-care, and we all do. We all know that. So, we want to make sure that their journey is one that is full of joy and resilience, and we're here to help you. So onward, Michael.
You ready for me? Greetings, everyone. Nice to see you and welcome. I'm going to actually put my timer on because I've been told sometimes I can be a little long-winded. So I just want to make sure I'm saying. Anyway, so good afternoon. My name is Michael Lombardo, and I'm the director of the Athletics, Fitness, and Outdoor Programs Department with the acronym AFOP. And my department operates a full-service fitness facility. We also run all of our PE classes, club sports, and outdoor programs, and we service current students, staff, and faculty. We also assist in a number of student groups, including the outdoor component of Gray Fund, the Reed Outdoor Club, which is ROC, and also the backpack co-op and climbing wall that's in our outdoor center. So over the last couple of days, a number of folks have asked me about what is the situation with our sports center. And so likely you may have noticed 2 big slabs of cement over by the Performing Arts Building and the West parking lot. And so back in February of 2020, Portland experienced an unprecedented winter storm. And the accumulation of ice and snow on our gymnasiums, which were built in 1964, the weight was just too much, and both of the gyms collapsed under the pressure. Good news, we're making lemonade out of lemons. We are in the process of doing a significant rebuild and remodel of our facilities, and construction will begin in February of this year, and we'll have a grand opening, hopefully fall of 2024. So your students will be able to enjoy our new facility, and it's going to be awesome and fantastic, and so we're really excited about that. So I wanted to just bring it up. See if this works. So yes, there is a PE requirement that Reed has, and you know, the graduation requirement was built into the curriculum back in 1917, 1918, and the college really has not rescinded the requirement in all these years, and primarily it's to focus on one of the primary premises of the college, which is to promote student health and well-being, a sound mind, and a sound body. We really haven't made any alterations in the PE requirement, although we've made some modifications to accommodate the modern era. So each student is required to complete 6 PE units in order to meet the graduation requirement. Students can earn 1 PE credit per quarter, which is about 7 weeks. During a student's standard tenure, they're here for 16 quarters. So 16 quarters to complete 6 PE credits. And I can tell you, students have to work really hard to not complete the credit. And some of them do. Some of them can be pretty dug in and have their own sense of what their priorities are. I'm assuming you probably all have met your students, so you know what I'm talking about. And what I can say, you know, with regard to our programming, we take full advantage of where we are positioned in the Pacific Northwest. A lot of our programming is on the rivers, in the forests, in the mountain, and at the ocean. So we have a very broad and diverse amount of programming that the students can engage in. And I can say without reservation, for a college this size, the quality, type, and number of programs that we offer your students is unprecedented. So currently on the program, we have 40 different programs scheduled for this upcoming semester, and we have over 700 students currently registered for programming first quarter, which begins on Monday. In addition to our AFOP, or Athletics, Fitness, and Outdoor Program staff, we contract with about 30 professional PE instructors, coaches, assistant coaches, and outdoor specialists. We also employ about 300 hours per week in student worker jobs over at the Sports Center, and many of these positions are in leadership positions. Activities, depending on enrollment and student ability, are offered at all levels, and our focus is to present our programming in an atmosphere of fun and relaxation. Student enjoyment, fitness, stress management, skill learning are emphasized. Competition is not. I mean, you could see what we have here, and actually this is not even everything. We also offer students the opportunity to do independent programs, so they'll come to me with a proposal, and I'll evaluate it, and if it fits under the criteria, they can go out into the community and participate and earn PE credit. So students will go to individual climbing gyms or martial arts studios or yoga studios. We also will grant students credit for doing roller derby, pole dancing, a number of activities. I mean, it's a thing. The pole dancing is actually, quite rigorous. I took one class a couple years ago, and I couldn't move for about a week. So I'm out of time, and all I would say is, before you leave, maybe communicate to your students, to try and get involved in our programming as soon as possible, know where we are. We encourage and want students to participate in programming beyond the PE credit, and a lot of our programs are free of charge. Our outdoor center, our backpack co-op, we have a really incredible inventory so students can check out equipment, and it's all free. So stand-up paddle boards, kayaks, tents, cross-country skis, camping stoves, sunblock, whatever students need. And so we will help them figure out where to go, figure out how to get them a permit and a parking pass, and we'll take care of them. So I'm way out of time. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Tammy Roshan. I'm the Medical Services Director at the HCC. This is my third academic year at Reed, and I am a nurse practitioner. I have my doctorate in health leadership, and I've been in the medical field for a very long time. And you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Ann Kimberly. I'm a family nurse practitioner, and along with Michael, I am one of the older, longer, I've been here 20 years. This is my 20th year. And I love it, and I wouldn't stay if I didn't love it. Yeah, so we're going to kind of go back and forth.
And tag team these slides. Anne's got a whole lot of great information, like just history and information about the services. I'm going to take my mask off. Huh? Can you hear? Is that better? Oh, wow, that's not. Okay, yeah, okay. This is just a list of our team. I just want to say that we have a fabulous team. I have great admiration for the team. We have a really cohesive and collaborative team that really is invested in the students' health and wellness. Anne, do you want to say anything about that?
Yeah, we've been through a lot together, as you can imagine, the last few years, and we've got a full team, and I mean, we all love our jobs. We're here because we love it.
Which way do I go?
You're in medical. Okay.
So this is just, oops, wrong way. There we go. This is just a description of who we are as a medical team. We kind of just talked about that, but like I said, collaborative, cohesive. We practice through a lens of harm reduction and equity, and we are 100% here for your students. Yep.
So, okay, sorry, the technology's not my favorite part. So in the medical side of the Health and Counseling Center, known as the HCC, we do primary care. So it doesn't cost your student anything to come and see us. Please have them come to us first. We'll help them figure out what the next step is, if there is one. Tons of things, from twisted ankles, colds, infections, I'm going to say it, STD testing. I just also want to say that I will be sending my one and only child to Oregon State in 3 weeks, so I will be sitting where you are. We are really big on immunizations. We've got most of the childhood stuff, and we check every visit. We check students. We look at the records, and we say, oh, looks to me that you could still use another meningococcal B vaccine. So we really work on that. We also do gender-affirming hormone care. This is something that the students are very thankful for, and so am I. We've been working on it for a long time. We've been doing it for a good handful of years now. Reed is known as a very welcoming place, and I just think it's the best thing. Of course, birth control and contraception is a big part of what we do. We educate students, we encourage them to be safe, and we help them find a method that works for them. We started a couple years ago doing allergy injections, so if you have a student who needs allergy shots, we do need them to get us the records from their allergist, and we're kind of like the shot place. We follow the orders from the provider at home, and we're ready if there's a reaction, and we've done that now, so we're pretty good at that. Harm reduction and syringe services, another really big part of what we do. A lot of students do go abroad, and we'll do an exam for them before they leave and ask to see them when they return. We do mental health medication management, including ADHD medications in certain circumstances. So we have one provider who does most of the ADHD meds, and then 3 of us who do anxiety, depression meds. Spend a lot of time talking with students. I have students who come in and ask me things like, I'm thinking of becoming sexually active and I want to get STD testing first. And I thank them for coming in, and we talk, and we figure out a plan. We refer to a lot of the specialists in town. Until this last December, I also worked at Oregon Health Sciences University in the ER. Started that 23 years ago and decided I just needed one job, so gave that up, but I've got a lot of connections, and Timmy also has a lot of connections in town. We can usually find what your student needs. We do contract with an after-hours nurse line. We're only available 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, and we are closed at lunch because we take care of ourselves as well. But the students can always use that line, and that number will be given to them in many different settings, so they should know how to do that. If they don't, they can just call the operator, and the operator will help them.
And just one thing about the nurse triage line, we do follow up with students if we get reports that they have called over after hours. We follow up with that student and just make sure that if they need to come in and see us or they have any questions about what happened. And so I think that's important, a follow-up. So then we also have, I think one of the things that we did this year was really formalize our harm reduction services. We've always practiced with a harm reduction lens, but we now have opened up a syringe services program. We were doing it with our trans students already, and so it was easy for us to move to something a little more formalized. So we will exchange syringes if needed, which I think is a very important service, and mostly utilized by our trans students, really. Mm-hmm. So we also have, we'll do naloxone prescriptions out there. There is naloxone available around the dormitories that are in boxes, so if they need them, but if a student wants to carry some on their person, we can prescribe. In Oregon, pharmacists can prescribe. They can just go to the pharmacy and get naloxone. However, it's at the discretion of the pharmacist. So we know that if we can give them a prescription for it, that the pharmacist won't say no to that.
So Narcan,
naloxone, Narcan, yeah. We also started this year with our syringe services program, having fentanyl test strips available, and we find that to be very important for our population. Our harm reduction services are confidential, and to get the fentanyl test strips, they don't have to give us their name. We also provide resources to harm reduction services out in the community. There's several places out in the community that support harm reduction, including the county and a couple other clinics and organizations. Anything you want to say? Do you want to talk about
So, as I mentioned earlier, it doesn't cost any money to walk into the health center, but there are some things that do cost money. We don't have anybody who does the billing in the health center, so this is one of the reasons we made sure at orientation that your students provided us with their insurance information. Everyone has to have an insurance that's comparable to the one that Reed offers through Pacific Source. This is a really big deal, because if your student needs something and they order it and we do blood test, and then we find out later that their insurance is like catastrophic only, they're stuck with a bill. One vaccine is $250 these days. So it's super important, and please, if you have a few minutes to get your student to listen to you about this, just make sure they understand how to use their insurance. So we cannot, if you have Kaiser, we'll help your student learn about the local Kaiser folks. We can't do certain things. Kaiser keeps everything under their own little umbrella. So if your student comes in with a sore throat, we may do a strep test. There may be a small fee for something like that, a point of care test. Again, immunizations cost money, but most of the insurances cover that. we do free of charge the flu and COVID vaccines. We do have a small dispensary in the clinic that is mostly contraceptives and maybe 6 or 7 antibiotics, some steroids, some asthma medications, that type of thing. So I would say about 90% of the time we can dispense medications for your student from our clinic. Otherwise, there are 2 or 3 pharmacies that are like within a mile, and that's where most students ask their prescriptions to be sent. Yeah.
All right, so just a little bit more on health insurance. Like Anne said, it's extremely important that all students have comparable health insurance. We don't have billing, but we do bill the student accounts for those things that Anne just talked about, immunizations, any point of care testing that we're actually processing in our health center, except for COVID tests this year. COVID testing for people who are symptomatic is free this year. But it's very important that you make sure that the students have their coverage. We ask them to bring their health insurance card, so we get all their health insurance right away. We can help them. They'll get a walkout statement that'll have the charges that are going to go to their student account. And prior to putting anything on their student account, we talk to them about it. So we go through the options in terms of, and try to figure out with their insurance. So it's really important that your students have access to their insurance information, their insurance card. We will ask them for it. We won't not see them if they don't have it, but we definitely want to work with them and their insurance. And if you cannot, if the student cannot afford the health insurance, there might be a possibility they can qualify for the Oregon Medicaid program, which is the Oregon Health plan, and we can help sort of navigate that process with them or get them hooked up with someone that can navigate that for them. Appointments. So how do you make an appointment at the health center? For the medical team or medical services, the students actually can make appointments via the student health portal. There's several things that we actually want that they get a message if that's what they're seeking, that we want them to call, so we make sure that we can get them in timely. But for a lot of the cases, they can get an appointment. Our appointments are available. Last year we did about, we were maybe the longest they might have to wait for a routine appointment was 3 days. So we do pretty good. We really watch access for our students. Access for care is really important to us. So if we start seeing it lagging, we start to work on different ways to free up some space. For the medical team, we do both in-person and telehealth appointments, and the students have the option to book one or either of those. If we do telehealth for something and the provider needs to see them, they may just pop in for a short visit to, do a urine dip or something like that, or get their ears looked at. You can the students can contact the HCC also and make appointments for the medical team just by calling and asking for an appointment. I think that. So this is just information on contacting and how to contact us at the HCC. If you have any questions, we really we talk to parents a lot. I get a lot of parent phone calls. So if you have any questions or anything specific, don't hesitate to reach out. Absolutely. John?
Can we say one more thing?
Oh, wait, Anne's going to say one more thing.
Okay. I think it's sometimes hard. We talk a lot about it's time to cut the tethers and that type of thing, but they are still learning, and we recognize that. So what I ask of a freshman might be very different than what I expect of a senior. So if a freshman is like, I can't figure out how to use this, we help them. We do not, we're very nice. We try not to be their parents, though. And so we are working on that wonderful word, adulting aspect. And as you all know, taking care of yourself with health insurance when you're older is not fun. It's horrible. I'm in the field, and I don't understand everything that's going on. So, yeah, we are there for them, and I hope that they will utilize us when they need to.
Hi, everyone. It's nice to be with you here this evening. My name is Johanna Workman. I am the Director of Counseling Services, and I'm part of the Health and Counseling Center. We are an integrative counseling, health and counseling center. I'm a licensed psychologist, and I am here with one of our clinicians, Miriam Salcedo, who will be talking to you about some of our services also. So the question that I get asked the most is, do you have mental health care? Is there mental health support for our student? And the answer is yes, there is mental health support. We have five licensed clinicians. All of our clinicians are licensed. We have a clinical case manager and a fabulous team. I'll talk to you about the services we offer. We offer short-term solution-focused therapy. We prioritize rapid access. So like on the medical team, our students are typically not waiting more than 5 days to see a clinician. We also offer same-day walk-in appointments for students who have urgent needs. Our counseling is offered by either in person or teletherapy. We also do group approaches, such as workshops and forums that Miriam is going to tell you a little bit about, to foster wellness and decrease feelings of social isolation and increase social support. We provide substance abuse assessment. We have case management services in our center, and that is to help with facilitating students to connect with resources outside of our counseling center. For example, if the student needs more intensive services that we can provide, or has a diagnosis or issues that are outside of our scope of practice, or needs help connecting to an insurance plan. We also get asked if we have after-hour support. Our center is 9 a.m. to 5 a.m. 5 p.m. That's when the doors are open. But we do have after-hour support. We have a 24/7 phone crisis line. We contract with a service called Protocol, and they provide 24/7 crisis support. And we've been able to Reed has been able to expand the mental health offerings to Reed students. So we have contracted with an outside provider called UWill, and UWill provide students up to 12 sessions of teletherapy for no charge to the student. All of our counseling services are free of charge. We also have contracted with another organization called Togetherall, which provides peer-to-peer support, so students can support each other on a peer-to-peer platform. And finally, we have been provided a mental health app through Pacific Source, which is available to all students, called Joyages. Okay, and I'll pass it to Miriam.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here. Again, my name is Miriam Salcedo. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm one of the counselors in the HCC. And I wanted to provide a little bit of information about 2 workshops that I'm going to be a part of this semester. The first one has never been offered before, but it's going to be called Radical Embodiment. And it is going to be focused on exploring our relationships with our bodies, how those relationships are impacted by systemic messages that, of course, impact each person individually based on their intersecting identities. And we're going to be exploring how to kind of pull back the layers on that narrative and how to recreate a narrative that fits for us individually and is more empowering. Of course, through that process, we'll be learning all sorts of wonderful skills and building community. And the other workshop, which was offered last semester, is the ecotherapy workshop, which, of course, builds community. It allows people to not only explore their current relationship with nature, but how to build a relationship with nature. We have the wonderful canyon to our use and to be with. We also have the rhododendron garden down the street, which we also spend time with during the workshop. And during the workshop, we also explore not only the history of the land, but also the indigenous people of this land and our relationship to that. And so it's also a great opportunity to learn mindfulness skills, and we know that those can be very, very helpful for stress management as well. So thank you for listening to a little bit about the workshops that will be offered.
Hi, folks. I'm Rowan Frost. I'm the Program Director for Sexual Health, Advocacy, and Relationship Education here at Reed. And the programs that I oversee are the Confidential Advocate Program for folks who've experienced any kind of interpersonal harm, including sexual harassment, sexual assault, relationship abuse, or stalking, and a harm reduction peer-based program called the Night Owls, who are on campus between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. on Friday and Saturday nights, just offering a little bit of extra support for students who maybe are feeling a little disconnected, or a little bit worried about their friend who's been vomiting in the bathroom for half an hour. Maybe somebody should go check on them, but I don't know that I want to do that, so could you? And then the third thing that we do are provide sexual health services. So in that we provide information and linkage. The HCC does an absolutely wonderful job of actually providing those services. We provide the safer sex supplies, so latex condoms, non-latex condoms, different kinds of lube. Students can request those anonymously or confidentially, and we will help supply those. So a little bit more about the Advocate Program. Thank you. The Advocates are students who have received the same level of training that they would if they were working in a rape crisis center or a domestic violence shelter in the community. Oregon has a law that protects advocates and the people that they serve, that creates a status called Certified Confidential with Legal Privilege. So when our students have completed training and are hired by the SHARE program, they are certified confidential, which means they're legally not allowed to share most information with anyone, and we don't report to the college. So if a student is concerned about something that's happened to them, something that's happened to a friend, maybe a family member, no matter where it happened or when it happened, they can find out what kind of options and support are going to be available to them confidentially by talking to a SHARE advocate. And then we will give them, we'll make suggestions. The HCC has counseling. If you want to report to law enforcement, community safety will assist with that. So we provide the linkage for students. But we are survivor-centered, so survivors decide what they're going to do, and we support those decisions. We also have a couple of different groups that are peer-based. One is the multimedia journaling group. We don't call it an art journaling group because we want to make sure that people aren't concerned that they're not artistic enough for that. But sometimes to process stuff, to learn new stress reduction skills, multimedia journaling is another way that you can do that. So folks are welcome to drop in. They don't have to have a trauma history. It's just really kind of a fun thing to do. The other group that we have is a peer support group, and that is a student advocate who identifies as a survivor and has received training as a facilitator, and they hold space for a peer support group. So if someone is trying to navigate read as someone who's experienced harm. They have other folks that they can talk to. That, you know, I'm having a really rough time right now. I need to talk to my professor about getting an extension. I don't know how to do that. I've never done that before. Someone else in group can probably help them, walk them through that. So it's an incredibly great lifeline. And they meet during the summer and during winter breaks as well. Let's see, thank you. The night owls, oops, sorry, I went to, there we go. Night owls? Yes, night owls. Okay, so the night owls are, this is a program that was originally conceived by Gary Granger, who's over here on the side here. What it's evolved into is a program of students who have learned bystander intervention techniques, some de-escalation skills, some basic evaluation skills, naloxone training. And they are, like I said, they stroll around on campus from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. If there are parties, there's there's a rager at the Spanish house, they'll drop by there, check in with everyone. They carry granola bars and really good fruit snacks and vegan candies and all kinds of things, hand warmers when it's cold. And the reason they carry those things is to give students an opportunity to come up to and interact with the night owls. We believe in Readies taking care of Readies, and we want to build our students' capacity to care for each other and to know when they can't and when they need to talk to an adult, right? So the night owls kind of help support that. If they will call the community safety officers if there's an emergency situation. You know, they see somebody and the person's sitting on the curb with their head down, they go over and talk to them. How's it going? Oh, I just had a fight with my boyfriend and I'm really upset. And oh, that's awful. Do you want a granola bar? If the person isn't able to communicate with them, that's when they're going to call the community safety officers and make sure that they get help, okay? They will also call community safety when asked. We have a really robust amnesty policy. You're not going to get in trouble if you're looking for help for yourself or someone else, but a lot of our students don't come from places where there are amnesty policies and they don't really trust it. So they can ask a night owl, hey, can you call community safety because there's somebody over there who isn't doing well and I think somebody should check up on them. Okay. The night owls also hold space called share lounges. So when there are big campus events, this is a wet campus, sometimes there's alcohol on campus. That can be really overwhelming for students who don't drink or who, you know, are trying to stay in sobriety, or students who maybe are drinking for the first time and they're feeling really weird and they don't really want to go back to their room by themselves, but they want a place that they can sit where they know they're going to be safe. Somebody's going to offer them a cup of tea and some Oreos and a chat if they want. And then if they want, we can go ahead and text the night owls, have them come over and walk the person back to their dorm. So Share Lounge is just a place to go, chill, be safe, go back to the party if you feel like it, go home if you don't, okay? And then the third thing that we provide, the sexual health services. Oops, I went too far again. There we go, okay. So, we had educators working for us last year who put together an excellent resource guide that is pink and really hard for me to read, but they can read it just fine because they're young. And it has a lot of information about the kinds of services that are available at the HCC, as well as services that are available out in the community. And that we also, like I said, provide the safer sex supplies. So there's literally a mail order form. You just complete it. I put the supplies in a brown envelope. It goes in your mail stop, or it gets mailed to your local address. And I'm also going to be tabling on Fridays so they can stop by, ask questions that they might have, and get what they need. A lot of our students come to Reed thinking everybody here is already very sexually experienced. Not the case. Most of our students are not sexually active when they arrive at Reed. But as they're starting to explore that, we want them to have good, accurate, friendly information. So one other resource that we have, if you go to our webpage, you'll find this. There was a series of videos that were done over the last couple of years. Anne Kimberly's urinary tract infection is an absolute banger. It is so good, right? Like, I'm serious. I learned so much from this woman. So we try to find different ways of getting information out to folks. And so if you have any questions or concerns about your student, if you know your student is a survivor and you want to know, what can I do to support them, I'm more than happy to have those conversations with you. My contact information is on the website, reed.edu/share. I'm going to have to take off because I actually have to go and do a training with some students who are going to be leading the consent talks with your students. So again, we try to make it as student-centric as possible. But just know that your students are in really good hands. We know that they're going to achieve amazing things. Sometimes they're going to stumble, and we're here to provide that safety net for them when they do, okay? We will try to catch them. So if you do have concerns, please contact us. But for the most part, we got them. They're going to be fine. All right, good night, y'all. Take care.
Thank you, Rowan. I had no idea I could get Oreos with tea in the Share Lounge. I really want to do that now. Welcome. I didn't realize I was going to be the closer, but I'm happy to do that. So I'm Gary Granger with Community Safety. What's our role in harm reduction? Those of you who have been to other colleges and universities think of campus police or security forces and may not think of that at Reed. Hopefully the visual of this panel exemplifies the kind of collaboration that we value here at the college. So we work together. We do things such as event planning, we do safety awareness, we're part of the care team. Reed has a behavioral intervention team, so if students' conduct or potential conduct rises to a high level, there's a team of us who work on that very specifically. I'm a threat assessment professional, and so if we have to get to the point of doing threat assessment, that happens through my office. Everyone on my team is first aid trained. We're trained in mental health first aid. Medical Amnesty is a program that I helped initiate in 2011 at Reed and believe strongly in that. We want a restorative approach to when students do things that maybe we didn't want them to do so they can learn and continue to get their education and move forward. And finally, we have the Narcan program here that we began many years ago. I don't remember the actual year, but now it has fully blossomed into having Narcan available across campus for students who might need that. So connecting with students, we're in a unique position in community safety to leverage our regular work to connect with our students. We do a couple thousand unlocks a semester for students. It is our most popular, as someone put it, service the other day. I hadn't thought of it that way, but okay, that works. Every one of those interactions is an opportunity to connect with the student as a human being, as an individual person. It's easy to other people that wear uniforms, and so we work really hard here to disassemble that, whatever ideas students might have had about law enforcement and police and people that wear uniforms and enforce rules, and try and be humans with them and treat them that way as people who are adulting or trying to. So we leverage those moments. We're in the residence halls every day and every night. We're routine presence. It's not a surprise to see us walking through like, oh, there they are again. We host events, so we'll be hosting some events this week to try and connect with your students in non-crisis ways when something isn't broken or missing or they're not locked out of their room in their towel. And that happens. And we have our annual trading card program, which is another way to introduce ourselves as individual people to your students. Oh, I've got ahead of myself. Sorry. I'm not sure. There we go. So harm reduction is not the same as doing nothing. I want to make it clear that we do enforce the rules from time to time. It's my goal, I told a lot of people today and yesterday that it was my goal not to write a parking ticket or call a tow truck during orientation. Parking gets really creative when spaces get short, and so we succeeded in doing that. And so when I think about harm reduction, it's not that we are not going to enforce the alcohol and other drug rules. We will, we have to. It's important to have that as part of our program. But it's not what we strive to. We strive to keep your students safe and have them have a great time here. Never do nothing means that we will always engage your student if we observe them doing something that we all know they're not supposed to be doing. Or if we observe them doing something unsafe, we will always engage them. We don't do citations, we don't do fines, we don't accuse people of breaking the rules. And we try and leverage the proactive relationships that we have when we have these relationships, interactions with students that have friction, right? So if I see your student with a beer and I recognize him as a first-year student, we're going to have a chat. And we're going to talk with your students about that later tonight, about how those interactions work at Reed, as opposed to maybe what they've heard or what happened in their high schools or other places. And the idea is to have a relationship with the students before we have that particular moment with them, if we can, so that it's not just, oh, the CSO caught me with a beer. Oh, it's Gary. I talked to him before. Now he's talking to me about a beer. So we try and make that part of our program. And then finally, safety through our relationships, our restorative practices, and trying to help the entire college team help your students thrive. Do fun things with them, get to know them in non-crisis situations, as well as enforce the rules and do the things that we all know we have to do sometimes. If I find your student on a roof, we're going to have a conversation about roof climbing. If we find your student smoking cannabis on campus, we're going to have a very focused conversation about that. The community safety team does not do any of the work beyond the initial interaction. When we encounter your student, we say hello, we introduce ourselves, we find out who they are, we pour out the beer, we take the cannabis, we get them off the roof, whatever that might be, and then we move that along to other professionals in student life who follow up with your students. And so again, I see our role in harm reduction principally being to introduce ourselves to your students as individuals, to get to know them in that way, and to lower the perceived barriers for calling for help. We are a primary source of referral to all of the services that these folks just talked about, whether it's the mental health crisis line after hours or it's the nurse triage line. If we get a call at 10 o'clock in the evening on Friday that a student's not feeling well, we'll go take a look at them. In many cases, we say, hey, why don't you call that nurse triage line and talk to someone who's a professional, a medical professional, get some advice, and we'll figure out what the next step needs to be. So again, lowering the perceived barriers for calling for help, getting to know your students as humans, taking a restorative approach to the work that we also have to do on the enforcement side is how we like to participate in the wider idea of student well-being. Thank you.
To dismiss you all to the reception, but we understand some of you might have individual questions, and you're welcome to, we'll just sort of step off the stage and you can come up and chat with us, or we can walk to the reception with you, which might be kind of fun too. All right, good night.